You know, judges, when they do this, they get to go back in their chambers and fiddle around. So another thing you might tell the county council about this process is that this isn't the way to do it. Okay. So let's deal with the second piece that you have, Rudd, which is the voting on other candidates. Okay.
So I would say Mr. Nelson had no expectations. By voting against the other candidates, Mr. Nelson had no expectation that he would receive the nomination.
Well, I don't know that I don't really want to address his mental state because we don't know what it is. There has been a lot of commentary on that over the years, but that is not. That's just by virtue of the fact.
Well,
that
it's basically office. He would have no financial gain.
Yes.
So no private interest.
So in voting,
it's the private interest.
In voting on other candidates to fill the vacancy, Mr. Nelson did not stand to acquire any private interest or special privilege.
I would reword it this way. There's no evidence being presented by voting against the other candidates, Mr. Nelson would receive the nomination.
I don't think we get into. I don't think we get into the final nomination. That's a whole different issue for me.
Correct, it's not nomination, it's appointment. I'm using the wrong word. It should be. There isn't.
But appointment.
Yeah. But the appointment is not an action of the council, and Mr. Nelson did not participate in that action. So I think anything subsequent to what the action of the council was is not relevant to our decision here. I mean that may be. I think once you go beyond that, it gets into any kind of speculation about whatever. I think you can't certainly say what his expectations were or weren't, and that's irrelevant to action taken. I think it's clear that I believe, and it sounds like we have consensus that he didn't engage in unethical conduct as it's spelled out here in the actions that he took. And I think commenting beyond that is irrelevant. It doesn't address the complaint.
Or perhaps another way of putting this is that based on the record, if he had any expectation, it was that a failure for someone to emerge as a candidate with 4 more votes would force the matter to the executive.
I don't think that's a part of the complaint.
No, but I'm talking about. But in terms of coming to the conclusion as to why we're coming to the conclusion we are, is that Mr. Nelson's vote in the negative against other candidates would. If he read them in, if he listened, assuming he was listening to what was going on in the council meeting, his expectation would have been that a vote against a candidate and a failure of all candidates to achieve a majority would automatically result in it going to the executive. It's not that the position would go to him, as the position would then go to the executive for a decision.
I hear what you're saying.
That's not part of the complaint. And I don't think it's within our purview to address that kind of thing.
No, I'm not addressing it as a complaint issue. I'm saying there's an explanation as to why we reached the decision. That's what we're trying to do, isn't it?
It doesn't explain why I reached the decision. It plays no part in how I reached the decision. What happened subsequent to the council's actions that night is irrelevant to the complaint.
And I think what the complaint is saying that it was a special privilege to vote on any of them.
The vote is a special privilege and not what happened subsequent to that.
No, but I come to the private interest part. Because to vote against a candidate knowing that in doing so you're going to force someone else to make the decision is not achieving private interest for yourself.
Can I try this on then? I think I've tried to synthesize what you're saying. By voting for, for or against candidates for the vacancy, and by abstaining from voting, Mr. Nelson did not stand to derive any private interest as defined in Whatcom County Code 2104030N, or secure any special privilege as set forth in 2104.043.
I would agree with that.
So you combined them.
So it's either whether he was voting for, against, or abstaining. He did not stand to derive any private interest or secure any special privilege.
That's for the 24 votes.
It's the 24 votes. We're going to deal with, we're breaking it down. The third one's going to be abstaining from voting for himself. Because I think that's where Rudd went with the next one.
And you said you're okay with that, Chuck?
Right.
Okay. That was fairly concise.
Here's the problem.
Okay, you want to try your second one?
That was my second one.
Oh, that was your second one.
Yeah.
Third one.
Third one.
Sorry, as a matter of procedure, do we need to vote on this or wait?
It'd be really nice if we could put that to bed and then we go to the next one.
And then we'll combine them and see whether we agree with what we voted on?
Yeah, we're just voting on them one by one because
Okay. Any further? Did you so move then?
so
Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Number 2 passes.